All right, welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Hope you guys are having a great weekend or beginning to your weekend, which is Thursday. Um, Stay tuned, y'all. It's gonna be a great show. We're gonna start out with this intro video. Uh, Hope you guys enjoy it. All right, let's go.
Donald Trump has won the presidency.
Donald J. Trump is now president of the United States. President Obama is the ex-president. And Mr. Trump, for the moment, steps away for the inaugural
What a great honor to be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th president of the United States of America, Donald.
I'm sorry. No. Why?
She had literally every odd stacked against her, and she was working her ass off. She was working her ass off. Not only is she black, she's a woman, and to lose to a convicted felon, to have to be a woman and you have to be damn near perfect, and people are picking her apart for literally everything, while this man gets to be cruel, be vile, be a horrible human being, be a bad businessman, be a criminal.
5 million votes over in a popular vote for fascists and racists. Are you kidding me? Say what the it is. You bitches. She shouldn't have had to do nothing. She shouldn't have to have no campaign. Are you kidding me, bitch? I don't give a She didn't have no typical palatable Republican opponent. I don't give a if she never had no plans. I don't give a if she got up there and cussed everybody out every day. Her opponent didn't have going on for nobody, and that's the y'all voted for. And I got a problem with that.
The reality is setting in. I'm hurt. A lot of us are juggling grief, confusion, and defeat at the same time. While many of us fear that the next 4 years, the most vulnerable communities in our country will be under siege. For Black people, Muslim people, migrants, disabled people, women, and other vulnerable groups, this was not just an election defeat. It's a signal that the next 4 years will be plagued by corruption, chaos, and real consequences that will not only hurt our communities, but generations to come.
I don't know what the y'all want me to say. I don't know what dream y'all want me to sell you, what reassurance you think that I should be giving you right now, but I can't. I'm a Black woman in America, and I'm tired. I'm tired.
To all you Latinos that voted for Trump, I hope he mass deports you and your entire family. Whether you were here legally or not, you gotta go. I hope he does that. To you Black men who your fragile ego couldn't take a Black woman in office, so you either voted for Trump or you didn't vote at all, the police will now have carte blanche to murder you right where the you stand. And when they do that, there's not going to be no GoFundMes. Don't ask your family to ask us for Just die. They can't afford to bury you. Dig a hole in their backyard. It is what the it is.
Well, with that being said, how y'all brothers doing? We have hello everybody. We first when we start, I'm gonna introduce everybody. We have Black Liberation Movement and Commander Patrick Lumumba of the Elmer Geronimo Pratt Gun Club. We have Commander General Nick Bezzel of the Elmer Geronimo Pratt Gun Club, and we have Black Opportunity Zone, Mr. Hawk Newsome. How you brothers doing?
Hey, what's going
on,
brother? How you doing?
Good.
All right. So let's get this show on the road. All right. I want to start off with dealing with this election because it became very heated. Especially, it was a lot of heat on us as Black men, as far as drawing the line in the sand of what we should do, what we shouldn't do. But along with other things, what do you guys think was the primary reason Kamala Harris lost? And I'm going to start with you, Brother Nick. What do you think was the primary reason Kamala Harris lost the election the way she did as well?
Right. Well, I think it's a couple things, actually. 4 years ago, Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but 4 years ago she tried to run for president. And I think she only, when they were looking at it, she was one of the first to drop out. And she had about 2% of the popular vote. And so the people told you, right, the people told you 4 years ago that she wasn't the candidate for anybody. And we had all of these videos and, people brought up all these things about her past. People know the video about her saying, hey, if I'm going to do anything specifically for black people, no. And so in 3.5 years, her being tucked away in the White House, she didn't do anything for us then for 3.5 years. She told you she wasn't going to do anything for us 4 years ago. And then she had been in a position where she could have done something for people, especially these target demographics. Right, there's 36 million registered Black American voters, but you didn't do anything for us. And then when you first get into office, these Asian massage parlors down in Atlanta get shot up by a white boy. And the first thing her and Slow Joe do, they go and create the AAPI, the Asian Hate Crime Bill. So they did something specific for black people, for Asian people, right? For her to say you wouldn't do anything specific for us, but we're the most targeted group when it comes to hate crimes, but you choose not to do anything for black people. But as soon as something happens to them, it's a big deal. You're talking about, the pandemic. You can't say Wuhan virus and all this other stuff, starts coming out. And just recently, I see that they're talking about creating a hate crime bill for the Jewish community. So the Asians will have a hate crime bill. The Jews will have a hate crime bill, but yet we're the most targeted group when it comes to hate crime in America. And yet we've been asking for a hate crime bill. Like, I don't talk to me about like a lot of these other, these all-inclusive civil rights bills. And that's normally where we end up at, is that they try to put black people, they lump us with these all-inclusive laws. And so I say all that to say, all this the support that she supposedly had during this run, where was that support 4 years ago? Where was the Divine Nine supporting her 4 years ago? You didn't see it. Where was the black community supporting her 4 years ago? She was considered a top cop and all of this other stuff and hard on crime and prosecuting people, whether, some of it is true, some of it is false, but that was what her record was at the time. And even when they were having the debates, the 20 Democrats who were running for president before they rolled old Joe out the crypt, she was getting drugged on stage. Tulsi Gabbard, who now is a Republican, was dragging her during these public debates, and she couldn't shoot back out. And so now all of a sudden, she's the savior of black people. I don't get it. So where does she go wrong? She doesn't relate to us the way that, say, a Dr. Cornel West does, a Nina Turner does. And I saw that when you ran that clip, and I kind of want to just speak on that briefly. Like, for people to say black men are afraid to allow black women to lead is false. You all know it. The second highest ranking person in our organization is a woman. You see what I'm saying? It's not that we're afraid, but bring the right one out there so we can vote for.
There you go.
And for that woman, again, talking about black men either voted for Trump or didn't vote at all. Well, I'm proud of where I placed my vote. I placed my vote behind Dr. Cornel West because I know he stood for black people. You see what I'm saying? And then she's talking about, oh, be prepared for police to have carte blanche to attack us. Well, they've been doing it. It don't matter if it's a Republican or a Democrat. Ain't nothing going to change. Police are going to stick. Man, these state-sanctioned terrorists are still going to be killing people with no issue. They've been doing it. It don't matter who in office, Republicans or Democrats. So all that buffoonery and all that soup salad that these people are serving up because they mad that Kamala Harris lost. No, what we should have did was took them 36 million votes and put it behind Cornel West, who's a black man, a real black man who we know what he stood for because of his track record and knew that his policies were going to have something tangible for black people, and then siphon off some of them liberal votes and siphon off some of them independent votes and see what we could have did there. But instead, we wanted to get behind and divide in our community, black people, black men and black women, behind somebody who already said they wasn't going to do anything for her. So the reason why she lost was because she was just an extension of Joe Biden, and nobody wanted Joe Biden. Joe Biden didn't went off policy; he went off fear.
Right.
And let me tell you something:
Right.
those people on the right, those Republicans, those MAGAs, that base, they came out and they voted for who they believed in. You got to give black people more than just saying, hey, if you vote for us, it's going to be the end. If you don't vote for us, it's going to be the end of the world for you. Because we already had 4 years of Trump and we made it out.
Yeah.
And we had 400 years of oppression in this country
Yeah.
and we still here kicking and fighting. So don't tell me that man in 4 years is going to be the end of us because ain't through slavery and everything else, we still here. So we gonna preserve it and push on like we always have. But she didn't win because she didn't have anything tangible to present to people. And that's just and I think we're tired of it. I think we understand now, or I think we're getting to the point where we understand our vote isn't for free. And once we understand it, we got 36 million votes, we can weaponize it.
Yep.
And we can control our own destiny going forward.
Okay. I totally agree with that. Brother Hawk, where do you stand as far as the primary reason why you think Kamala Harris lost?
Well, to piggyback off of off of what Brother Nick said, her approval rating, Kamala Harris's approval rating in April of this year was 39%. So people were not fans of her. All of these, these folks who jumped out, we love Kamala. She's the best thing since sliced bread. They didn't like her 8 months ago, right? We foresaw that she was having a problem with the black vote or black men, particularly 8 months ago. On a more personal note, when we discovered that there was a problem, we went and did research. Once they said, okay, Kamala's the candidate, personally, I didn't want Donald Trump, right? I really didn't. I would have preferred Kamala, but you deal with this however it comes, right? That's our faith in America. We have to deal with it however it comes. But what we did was we researched the kids we work with. We researched our elders. Nick and I had conversations about this. He offered input. 19 Keys, a few other brothers, constitutional lawyers, Ned Zeke, with New Era Detroit. All of these brothers, right? All of these people came together, some too, and put together a black agenda, right?
Right.
47 points. We had their lawyers. We had people who work so tightly with this whole system that we can't even mention them. Okay? We had the best of the best come together and put together a true black agenda for them to adopt. I know for a fact that it reached top 3 in this campaign in the Democratic Party, and they completely ignored it. They disregarded it. Now, the name of our organization is Black Opportunities, right? But when they came out with this agenda, they said it's the Black Male Opportunities Agenda. So not only do you disrespect us by not adopting what we put together, but you take it, water it down, and do a nod to the name of our organization, which was absolutely insane to us. But if you look at, I feel like Nick said a lot, right? That a lot of the things we feel the same way.
Yeah.
Great minds think. A lot of us brothers feel the same way, and this is why we didn't show up. But there's things that we got to point out, like diversity, equity, and inclusion fell under attack under this administration. This administration did nothing. Okay? They want to talk about abortion as an issue. So you take DEI and you take abortion, and there are things in the government called taxing and spending. The federal government can't tell a state to do what they want, but they can play with the money.
Mm.
So there was a case, there was a constitutional law case that said they wanted to raise the drinking age, right, to 21. And they withheld highway money because they said if people were older and drank when they were older, it had something to do with the rate of accidents. So they withheld highway funding so that they could force these states to raise the drinking age. They could have did the same thing with DEI. They could have defunded institutions in states that tried to abolish DEI. They could have did the same thing with abortion. There are things that this campaign, the Democrats could have done that would have brought people into the fold. We've been saying this since 2016 when they ran Hillary. Like we we ain't voting. We're not showing up for the Democratic Party. We feel betrayed by the Democratic Party. The Black Lives Matter movement started under President Barack Obama, right? Not only a Democrat, but a black Democrat at that. So there was so many things that they done wrong to us. 2020 was like we in COVID. We ain't dealing with Trump no more. So we gave Joe Biden and Kamala Harris a chance. And where did we end up? We ended up starving. We can't afford gas. We can't afford food. Cops are still killing us left and right. Under this administration, they killed they broke a record for police killings every year. On track with population growth, but so what? Right? And they really lost control. How did the Republican Party become the party of the poor? And folks and poor people, the people in the hood are looking at them for relief. Meanwhile, the Democrats became the elitists. If you look at those
Yep.
women and those men in that video, they all talk down to the streets the whole time, right? All of us on this call are very intelligent, right? But for our brothers and sisters who aren't as intelligent, you think you're going to win them over by telling them they're stupid if they don't vote for Kamala? You
Oh, not
understand
bad.
what I'm saying? That was their approach. Like, we're going to shame you. And we didn't turn on a black woman. We turned on that party. We wasn't voting when Joe Biden was their candidate. So just because their white masters decide to put a black person in front of us doesn't mean we're gonna just switch all of a sudden. And one last thing folks need to understand is the folks who really came out strong for Trump was like 18 to 30-year-old black men. Those men listened to Andrew Tate and Joe Rogan, black too, more than they listen to Barack Obama, more than they listen to Charlemagne, more than they listen to anybody else.
Yep.
You understand? So we like they really lost control of the culture. Lastly, Megan Thee Stallion is mainstream hip hop. Cardi B, these are all multimillionaires. The rappers that went with Trump before they changed their mind, Sexy Red, Ratchet, Chef G, Ratchet, Underground, Drill Rap. They had the streets. Donald Trump had the streets for real, and that's why they lost. Like Donald Trump didn't win as much as the Democrats gave it to him, and they lost.
Right. So,
Hey,
brother Patrick. Oh, go ahead.
Here, let me interject. I know Commander Patrick about to talk, but I want to touch on something Hawk just said. I think to me the most telling sign was a week before the election. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump were both here in Texas. Kamala Harris had the concert, well, not even the concert. She was here with Beyonce. Trump was in Austin. All right. He went on Joe Rogan's show. Joe Rogan told Kamala Harris, well, why don't you just come 2 hours up the road to Austin and come do the show? She said no. Then she went to Atlanta, did Club Shay Shay. If you looked the night before the election, her interview on Club Shay Shay had 1.8 million views. The Joe Rogan show with Trump has 47 million views. Now
Hey,
we can't say that Shay Shay's platform isn't as big because we know what Cat Williams did in a matter of days on his show. In a
Right.
matter of days. So we can't say people aren't watching, but that just tells you black people weren't checking for her during this election. Because if they did, the numbers would have ran up. They'd rather go listen to Cat. Think about this. They'd rather go listen to Cat Williams than listen to what Kamala Harris has to say. I just want to throw that out there since you have brought it up, Brother Hawk.
Yeah, and part of the problem is she literally
Right
had
on.
nothing to say. She literally had nothing to say. But brother Patrick Lumumba, what do you think was the primary reason, or do you agree with do you agree with everything? Well, I'm pretty sure you do, but like, do you have anything like other as far as like what was the primary reason? Did you see something that different?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me say this, Brother Vaughn. I appreciate you bringing this little Mississippi boy on the platform with all this black male power excellence, man.
Oh, no
So thank
problem.
you.
It's my honor. It's
First
my
of all,
honor.
yes, sir. So I'm gonna give you the Mississippi breakdown. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? They're gonna be real short, clear, and as plain as I can make it. Elijah Muhammad said, make the truth so plain that a fool could understand. Okay? We're gonna make the truth so plain that a fool could understand it. How Newsome did a good job of doing that because I watched him doing the whole campaign. And I'm gonna say this: the DNA of this country spoke, and the Democratic Party didn't do a good job of helping itself. And I think we overlook the fact of what the DNA of this country is. Um, I call the orange man the trumpeter. Okay, the trumpet is the clears of the brass instruments. So when the trumpet blows, it's clear. And I think Trump did a good job of being clear to white people, the DNA of the country. He said, look, y'all better get up. And I think the wokest people in America in the last couple of months became white people. Not us. It's white people. They woke up. They responded. Um, and all the emotional outbursts that we saw, coming from, black women mostly, that was living vicariously through Kamala Harris, who they identify with her. But I don't think Kamala Harris identified with black women the way, in a reciprocal way. I mean, look at her life. You know what I'm saying? All the backlash that the black men got, you know what I'm saying, for the loss. That was bull crap. That's straight bull crap. Um, I did a short little talk myself behind that because I was like, you might as well let them back on the, off the couch. Because it wasn't the black man's fault that Kamala Harris lost. The DNA of America spoke. White people came out and they reclaimed their political power and their political dominance. Now, what we're going to do, I guess that's what we're going to talk about after we're done with this particular question. What are we going to do, in the wake, in the aftermath of this? But, all the emotional fallout behind it, yeah, just to answer the question, the DNA of the country spoke, if you're
Yeah.
asking me.
Yeah.
That's what happened. But all the emotional fallout behind it, what was worse than slavery?
Right.
Jim Crow. What was worse than all that? So it ain't like we should be running scared. The world is over. We got Hawk Newsome. We got Nick Bezzel. You got strong brothers and sisters all across the nation. I still think we got some political cohesiveness that we need to be working on seriously. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not afraid of a Donald Trump presidency. I'm not afraid of that. And I don't think black people should be at all. And just in closing so that we can move forward, you know what I'm saying? At some point, we're gonna have to make a collective decision of a critical mass of black people to do something profound, more profound than begging. I don't give a damn what party it is. We're gonna have to do something more profound than begging these parties to act on our behalf. So I think we got strong leadership. I think we got strong leadership right here on this live right here. So that's my answer. The DNA of the country spoke. I saw a statistic that suggested that Kamala Harris needed 85% of black people to vote for her, and a strong percentage of white people to vote for her. And that same statistical data suggested that Donald Trump didn't need a black person in America to vote for him.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Think
Heavy.
about it.
Facts.
Uh,
I'm gonna throw this question out here. Anybody who wants to answer it, can answer this. Do you guys see a shift? Because this is the first time I really saw Republicans speaking to the working class. And I know people consider the working class rural communities, but there were a lot of us who heard that working class, working class, working class. Do you guys see a possible shift like we did during the civil rights movement, where the Dixiecrats turn red? Like there's just a switch. I'm not saying things are just going to be dramatically different for us. What I'm saying as far as the messaging, because I got a little confused about who was who. Like Brother Hawk was saying, the elitist was coming from the Democratic side, the workers, and getting rid of income tax and flat taxes and all these things, and reaching out to people who have social media platforms. I just saw a dramatic change, and I know a lot of us in the middle was kind of like, whoa, 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 wait a minute. So do you guys see a shift changing, or do you think it was just a thing of, with being that Kamala Harris, according to what the vote statistics say, she got less than 10 million votes than Biden did in 2020. So do you think it was more so of us staying home, or do you think that there's a shift coming, or we're seeing it as it's happening right now? Anybody can answer that.
Well, I personally think, I mean, it's like Brother Hawk was saying, um, the Democrats have become the party of the elitists. I mean, just look at what happened over the summer and heading into it. I mean, you ran the crown prince of the Democratic Party. You done ran him right into the arms of Donald Trump. How did you run a Kennedy off? You see what I'm saying? This is the first family of the Democratic Party, and you ran that man off. You ran off Tulsi Gabbard, who was I believe, a congresswoman from the state of Hawaii, who ran um, for president of the United States um, as a Democrat. She ran against Kamala Harris. She ran against Joe Biden. She ran against these people as a Democrat. And you're running them off. And when you listen to the language that they have, uh, they're saying the same thing that we're actually talking about. They're saying the same thing that we're actually talking about right here on this live video, and how the Democrats are no longer supporting working class people, and just not for the people anymore. And you all hit on it. If you're not doing that, then how can we get behind that? Because we can't relate to these millionaires. We can't relate to these billionaires. We can't relate to them. And so you're pushing people out. You're pushing people away who have been historically voting Democrat, and you're running them off. Now, I'm not necessarily saying the Republicans are the answer, but I think you are going to start seeing over the next 4 to 8 years, you will see more people flip parties. I mean, let us not forget Donald Trump was a lifelong Democrat, and Hawk Newsome can speak to that more than I can. That man was a
word.
lifelong Democrat, and he ran as a Republican after whatever his situation was with the Clintons. But this man donated millions on top of millions of dollars to the Democratic Party, and it ended up flipping. And again, we're not here endorsing anybody. I didn't like either candidate. I think the best candidate for us specifically, I always say vote our interest, was Dr. Cornel West. But I want black people to really think about this. What white man do you know prior to 2016 was mentioned the most in rap songs? Prior to 2016, who do you think was mentioned more than any other white man in America in rap tunes? I would be willing to put money up. I'd rather go.
No doubt.
I'd be willing to go on down to the horseshoe and put some money up if you could bet on that line, because I'm pretty sure
Mm,
it was him. Oprah
Word.
Winfrey said that if he ever ran for president, she wanted to be his VP, and they think they'd be a good team. All the way up to 2016 when The View was on TV. Oh, our great friend, we love him. You see what I'm saying? But the
Right.
fact that he decided to run as a a Republican turn those people off. And so we have to be very careful when we analyze these things, because I can promise you too, if you go back and look at Joe Biden's, because I didn't vote for Joe Biden either when he was running for president. Because if you go back and look at his policies over his career, his policies were more in line with the Republicans. His mentor was a Republican. Guys who were racist and bordered on the line of white supremacy. This is who Joe Biden's mentors were.
Yeah.
But yet, see, if he wasn't a Democrat, the Republicans would have got behind him and voted him, because his policies were more in line with what the Republicans, the traditional way that we think about Republicans, is how his policies fall in line. But he knew he had to run, and I know we're probably going to talk on local politics later, but
Yeah.
because of the party where he was at, he knew he could only win by being a Democrat. And so we have to be very careful who we view as Democrats and Republicans versus looking at their policies and who they really are. Because you can go and if Sister Jackie's on listening to this live, she'll know exactly what I'm getting ready to say. The mayor of Natchez, Mississippi, runs as a Democrat, but all he hangs around is Republicans, to include the governor of Mississippi, Tate Reeves. And so even though he runs as a Democrat, he's more in line with the Republicans. So we have to make sure that when we're voting and we're going to these elections, especially on the local level, we need to make sure we understand the policies and what these people really truly are before just saying, oh, they're a Republican, they're a Democrat, we're going to vote for them.
And let
And
me
that's why we need to be more politically sound as a people.
and let me just speak to this because like I heard women's rights coming up a lot in this election. I don't know how many times I have to say this. All my sisters out there, all the women out there, what Brother Nick just spoke to, you have to understand something. I'm gonna give you two instances where Roe v. Wade could have been codified during Jimmy Carter's administration. He had a supermajority in the Senate and he had a majority in the Congress. Barack Obama had a supermajority in the Senate and the majority in the Congress his first 2 years in office. The reason why your rights were never protected to begin with is because there are a lot of Democrats who are not pro-abortion. They are pro-life. But they dangled that nugget in front of you to make you think that that's what they're fighting for. Ruby told these folks generations ago, decades ago, it's not going to hold up. It's not a constitutional right. And Brother Hawk, I want you to speak to that. Is the cost plan, because there's a lot of cost plan going on, and now people are getting confused in that because they thinking that just because a person is Democrat, they have black interests, they have the black people's interests at heart. And it breaks my heart to see black people just blindly and just faithfully just vote Democrat. And we still having the same conversations our ancestors had during Jim Crow. But yet they telling us Democrats are the way. And I'm still confused by that. They keep throwing Project 2025 in my face. I know about the 1994 crime bill, though. That passed. That hit the floor and passed. And guess who passed it? Your daddy, who you in love with, who you voted for. The prosecutor who you mad at us for not standing up and fighting for, who enforced that legislation as a prosecutor. So, you want to speak to that, Brother Hawk, as far as because I know you see it a lot up there in New York. I mean, you're dealing with let's speak to the mayor right now, Mayor Eric Adams, cosplaying as one of us. And he ain't that.
Did you see him at the fight? Tap
Yeah.
dancing for Donald Trump?
And on The View.
Damn shame. But remember, we called him a coon as soon as he set foot in that office. Folks ain't want to listen to us, but now they see it. Right? Brother Vaughn, I really enjoy listening to you speak. You understand?
Appreciate it.
Because a lot of people don't know about that switch in the 60s with the Dixiecrats and when the Republicans left black people behind and started going after the Jim Crow Southern vote, right? A lot of people talk about, the parties, but they don't understand that little intricacy, right? When the Republicans made the conscious decision to go after and represent racist people. I can't say that it's the same right now because the Republicans really didn't have to do much to convince black people And a lot of Latino to go and vote for them. All they had to do was say, "I'm not that," right? I don't care what people want to say. At the end of the day, this is a Christian country,
Bingo.
right? And I don't care if you black, white, Latino, your views are conservative. The Democrats have become viewed as this, and I know I'm gonna catch heat for this lustful party, right? That is based in sexual promiscuity, right? Everything is a party, everything is a twerk, everything is, we talk about transgender people, right? And the Democrats had it where you couldn't criticize anybody who has a pronoun. And for you not to be able to criticize a group of people, you wind up with an Israel on your hands, right? I caught a lot of heat for saying I don't want trans people dancing in front of kids in thongs, just like I don't want strippers dancing in front of kids in thongs. Wrong is wrong. Other ways that the Republicans won people over was the economy, man. People vote with their pocketbooks. That's the end of the story. So you're gonna tell me that the same people who let me starve, the number two person, the second person who's in charge, that has us out here starving and stressed out at the gas pumps, those are the people who are gonna turn this thing around. I think they lost their appeal in this whole thing that if you are criticizing the Democrats, you're a Trump fan, it's preposterous, right? But that don't mean we can't take a look at Trump and be like, okay, he his policies are racist, right? But at the same time, this was the man who flew Mandela home from jail in his personal jet, right? Same man who helped out Michael Jackson, who helped out Jennifer Hudson, right? So I'm not going to sit back and forget those things that he's done, but I'm also looking in the First Step Act, which is something the Democrats should have done, where they released and reduced sentences for so many people. So it's like, if the Democrats don't want us to like somebody, they look at them and say, they're racist. They're
Yeah.
not here for you. But I'm looking at the Democrats like you're racist too. You understand what I'm saying? In my opinion, it's both parties against the people. And I
Yeah.
think that the Democrats lost their base. All you kept hearing, every time they asked Kamala Harris a question, she said, I grew up in a middle class household. Middle class to me mean you got food in your refrigerator, you own your home, right? You got a car. Working class to me means, damn, my lights might get cut off, my phone might get cut off a couple days before payday. There ain't really no food in the refrigerator. You know how you open up the refrigerator and ain't nothing in there, and you say, damn, and it echo back to you? Like, when, you, when your refrigerator be that empty, that's what working class is to me. And they abandon us, bro. So, like, I just, as soon as black people get out of their feelings, right? I want them to really realize that neither one of these parties are for us. And the best thing that we could do for ourselves is organize over the last 4 years, because I am very much sick and tired of the best organizer and mobilizer of black people being the Democratic Party. And that includes their slaves. I'm sorry, their puppets like Al Sharpton and the Urban Leagues and the rest of these Negroes that tap dance for them.
Right. Brother, I totally agree with that. Uh Brother Patrick, we were talking about how us as a people, we get confused with Democrats who cosplay, as Democrats, but they're really Republicans at heart. Um
Hmm.
and even if they
Yeah.
may not be Republicans at heart, they have, you know, certain values that may not align with what the Democratic Party, chant. Um, what are some ways that you look at, or what are some things that you look for? Because you deal with politicians as well, as far as the authenticity of these, Democrats that you see down in Mississippi? Like, what are tell the people what are some things they should look for, questions they should
Yeah,
be asking, where they should
yeah,
be at to meet these people, and meet them face to face and shake their hand and let them know they actually exist.
yeah. No doubt, Vaughn. And again, I appreciate you, bro, because what make good interviews is good questions. You know what I'm saying? So you asking the right questions, bro. And because you're exactly right. Listen, man, we sitting here talking about a Kennedy crossing party lines. I'm talking about a traditional Democrat that had been a king to black people. I'm talking about this king type imagery to black people, Democrat, but cross party lines and
Turn your
become
camera,
Republican.
Patrick. So, I'm sorry, turn your camera because we can't really see your whole face.
Oh, you can't
Yeah.
see me?
Okay, now we
Okay.
see. Now we see. Okay,
All right, you got me?
we got you
Okay.
now. Okay.
So what I'm saying is that it's so easy for these people to cross party lines. But we have this blind allegiance to these parties, particularly the Democratic Party. A blind allegiance. You know what I'm saying? A dedication, a blind allegiance to these parties. But these other people, they will cross party lines. I mean, just think about that. They'll cross party lines. Why do they do that? What I'm looking for in our politicians, especially here on the local level here in Mississippi, I don't care whether you're Democrat or Republican. I'm talking about what is your interest. I'm talking about being specific. And see, we let Kamala Harris get off the hook. You know, Charlamagne and God, black politics. I'm talking about black politics. I want to know specifically what is my interest. And you did. I don't care about Democrat or Republican. I'm talking about what is the interest with me. I'm talking about this segment of society in American society that I represent as a black person. What is that interest? That's what I'm looking for. I don't care about Democrat and Republicans. We're dealing with people right now in these townships that we trying to control. We trying to control these townships. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm
Yeah.
thinking we got to scale it back at some point and control something. We got to see black people in control. We got a whole city down in Jackson, Mississippi, where we have black government, and we got to control it. It's under attack right now. And we got Memphis, Tennessee, right up the road right here, a black city that's got black government, got black politicians in place. We got to control that. It's under attack right now. And it goes all the way down to the little town like Coldwater, Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? That we trying to control. The Holly Springs, Mississippi, that we trying to control. So I don't get down with the parties. I think we done invested too much into the parties. You know what I'm saying? We got to hash out politicians that have black specific interests first. I think Trump's first interest is white control and white power. And we got to get to that type terminology again. You know, and just like Hawk saying and Nick saying the same thing, the Democratic Party on that national level, they didn't have to speak to us. We didn't require that they spoke to us. We just wanted to identify with them. You understand what I'm saying? I got a serious problem with that. So, you know, my heart is not in national election. My heart is in what we can do locally, you know, on a local level, on a state level. What can we do to exercise power and control? That's what we at. So if you're asking me about the parties, I don't give a shit about no parties, man. I'm
I
looking
got you.
for people who got black interests. You understand what I'm saying? And where we can push that politics.
So, to piggyback off of that, for the young ones who may be seeing this and peeping everything we're saying, for those who any age group who is now starting to pay more attention more than ever, when we talk about local, state, politics and local government, what are some of the most important places for us to be, and how do we navigate, and what should we be paying attention to within our local government? Because I still see there's a lot of us that don't even know they don't even know what affects us, or who they should be voting for and what they actually they affect, what they deal with. Anybody can answer that question. I think that's very important because you're right. Local and state reparations can be passed on the local and state level. Stop
And I'm glad.
trying to push that to the federal government. That can be passed on the local and state level if you
But
organize good enough. So go ahead.
I'm glad you said that because that's exactly what I was getting ready to mention. You had even some of our members on the West Coast who were involved with the push for the California reparations bills. Think about this, and we're talking about who we're voting for, and what we're really discussing tonight is identity politics. That's really what we're discussing tonight. And the fact that we had the Black Caucus in California have bills for reparations for their own people, for their constituency, and kill that bill before it was even voted on is a travesty of the highest proportions. It's, it's treasonous. That's the only word I can use to describe it. It's treasonous that as Black people, the Black Caucus, that you have a bill for Black people and you kill it. And these are Democrats we're talking about now. These aren't Republicans. These aren't independents. These are Democrats we're talking about. And they killed a bill for Black people who were voted in by Black people who are supposed to be representing Black people. I mean, you're the Black Caucus. So if your allegiance primarily isn't towards your constituency, which is Black people, then those voters need to rethink who they put in office next time on the state level to represent them, because there is no way that bill shouldn't have been taken to the floor for a vote. There's no way. Just like we can talk about Senatobia, Mississippi, where you got Black guys, aldermen, which are, I guess, the equivalent of city council members in those areas. They're allowing abuse happening to their own constituents, to Black people. There's a place called Newtown right there in Senator, and Commander Patrick can speak to it better than I can. But I've seen it, I've visited, I've had interactions there. That place is, when you talk about like Gaza, how the Israelis do the Palestinians, that's what Newtown is like in Senatobia, Mississippi. They got cameras on every telephone pole, and they got the police sit on top of a hill overlooking what those people are doing. But you got a black alderman who's over that district who's allowing that to happen. And when the constituents bring it up, he tells them he don't see nothing wrong with what's going on over there.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're talking about these local elections, and me and Commander Patrick have had this conversation numerous times, we have to have a selection process before we get to the election. We need to make sure we're voting for,
Right.
we got to make sure who we voting for before we cast our vote whenever the election comes around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Brother Hawk, you got anything you want to say to that?
And say that I agree with everything you're saying. I'm over it. Before BLM, before activism, me and my sister ran a political consultant firm, right? So we would staff campaigns, we would strategize campaigns, we help people get elected, right? And once we really became full time in this activism, we just gave out endorsements. Man, we have to understand is we are helping people get elected who say, yo, I'm an activist, I'm this, I'm that. AOC was the perfect one. She conned the shit out of me. We was the first group in New York to endorse her. Once she got in there, she said, Hawk, I would help you on this Eric Garner thing, but I don't want to be I don't want to come across as anti-police. What we do is we help people get elected and they get assimilated.
That's right. That's right.
Still can compete with the power that these political parties have, the influence that these governments have, we will never have no true politicians or representatives, right? And the way that we do that is building in our community. I am of the state of mind where we need to start doing everything we're asking the government to do, right? We're worried about education and they don't want to teach the accurate history. Well, we got to teach education. The reason why, Mike, let's be real. Somebody said it, and they said something that was real. They said, a lot of us is mad at migrants, but the migrants is out hustling us. Nigerians is the top performing migrants. You have Asian Indians. These people stress education over everything. Education over everything. That's all. Okay, you're gonna be a doctor. You're gonna be a lawyer, and everything they kid do is kind of like micromanaged, and they stress education. We ain't stressing education, bro. We stressing dance moves. We stressing bullshit. Learning lyrics to songs and our kids, Pookie and Ray Ray, so cute. No, no, stop. Full stop. People don't want to hear it. Farrakhan said it. Farrakhan cursed black people out, and everybody want to listen. Hulk Newsome said, "Oh, you hate black? No, I hate black people. I love y'all niggas, but your kids is fucking up in school." Okay? Look at the dropout rates. Look at how bad we doing on tests. In my neighborhood in the South Bronx, the adults, 35, 40, their reading level is that of a second grader. We've lost our way. Back in the days, our parents knew that education was the way. Their parents knew that education was a passport to freedom. Before, they used to beat us for reading. Now you gotta beat a nigga to read. And that's where we are lacking. So you're worried, like everybody running around, oh my God, they're gonna teach, they're not gonna put slavery in the book. So what? Your kids ain't reading it anyway. How about that?
Yeah.
How about they not reading the books anyway? So how about we get some education plans, right? Same thing with economics. We gotta teach our communities economics. Unity. Everybody on this phone call, feed people and meet with people and figure out their issues. Got to be a national push for that, and safety. Yeah, we know poverty causes crime, but we gotta address the crime. Kids punching bus drivers in the face, spitting on them, knocking out old ladies on church steps. Like, I don't want them to be involved in this process. We have to clean house. Once we clean house, we build up a strong community. Then we can talk about politics. Bro, we were so busy worried about politics. How political are Asian people? Look at how successful they are. Look at the Indians and how they own the whole hotel industry across the country. I don't see them running for every office. You understand? Like, when are we gonna wake up and say a lot of this stuff we gotta fix starts in our house? That's the problem. Everybody want a solution, but nobody want to work to implement it. Let's get serious about that.
Okay. So
Yeah.
with that being said, so on our priority list within our community should be first.
Yes.
Real building that
But
foundation. The foundation should be the community first.
Without a doubt.
community first. Community take care of the community. Everything
Facts.
flows from community, right? We could teach, we could feed, we could build. Everything flows from community.
Got you. Got you. Got you. Okay.
Let me say this, Vaughn.
Go
Let
ahead,
me say
brother.
this. Two teachers I had on this journey. The first one, Baba James Small. He came to Mississippi in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. It was our second summit. And he told me that Mississippi was a very special place in the causation of black people. Now, as I matriculated across the state of Mississippi, black people in Mississippi don't think that. Okay? They don't think that we have lost our way. We have lost our consciousness about who we are, what we are, and how we are. So it's hard actually getting us to understand our own reality. But what he said culture, economics, politics, in that order. Culture, which is your customs, your values, your norms, the things we do, that becomes your immune system. Some kind of way we have to isolate ourselves from these people who have caused us to deviate from that culture. And Dr. Laverne Murphy, Hawk, you ain't got a chance to meet him, but Nick did. He told me it's two types of politics And what Hawk is speaking about is the indigenous politics that these people, these other ethnicities that come into America are practicing with amongst themselves. It's an indigenous politics that they practice. You know what I'm saying? They know that they gotta educate themselves. I know we got the Chinese restaurant, but in the back they teaching Mao Zedong. You know what I'm saying? You don't see them on the college campuses, but they teaching. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So we got to get our culture right. The culture got to get right. And I think I'm blessed to be in Mississippi. And I know Mississippi, to the carnal-minded people that understand what white people are putting out there, that narrative, Mississippi is a red state. You goddamn right it's red. Because white people have always maintained control in the South in this way. But Mississippi is the blackest state in the United States of America. And we actually have potential, but we have a strong, apathetic vote out there that we not controlling that. We haven't went out there with an active campaign and a determination to change that apathetic vote, make young black people 18 to 35 understand their dynamics, and actually change that. We have not dedicated ourselves to that. We have talked about it. And just like I tell us all the time, black liberation is theory. We all talk about it in theory. White supremacy is
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
He was about to
we
drop a
live in a
jewel.
paradox. We talk black liberation, but we live in the practical reality of white supremacy. And at some point in time, we have to make a determination, like John Henry Clark told us and he taught us. He said that history is a set of circumstances and events that will continue to happen the way that they happen until you decide to change it.
Amen.
So at the end of the day, we got to make a conscious decision to change something. Now, I can't change the United States of America, but goddamn it, I can change cold water. Okay? I can't change the United States of America in and of myself, but goddamn it, I can change Holly Springs, Mississippi. And when we make enough examples like that, create a network of examples like that, I think we own to something. As a black people, I think we own to something.
And I just want to throw this out there for those who are not familiar with everybody that's on this show right now. I'm not talking to three brothers who I had to pay, I had to persuade to step away from the football game, just to kick the shit and have a conversation. These are three of the most powerful brothers I've ever met in my life that I can actually say I know. I've been around. And they are very powerful entities in their own right where they reside and further than that, beyond that. Okay? This is not like four brothers, that just decide, hey man, let's just talk our shit. They know exactly what they talking about. They on the streets. And be honest with you, part of the reason why your Democratic Party lost that election is because they weren't talking to these three brothers. They weren't talking to these type of brothers right here. They weren't talking to these type of people that's actually on the street, who actually have, I'm talking about, I'm just gonna leave it at that. They have reputations. They have a solid reputation. Okay. Do you guys have anything else that you guys want to? You guys have anything that's going on that you want to promote, that you want to put out there before we close out?
Hawk, you got it.
Oh
Briefly.
man, I saw a couple of the comments, right? And I think Patrick addressed it adequately. I'm not dim. I'm not dumb. I'm not a bootstrapper. I'm fully cognizant of our past. And I'm cognizant of how we've been targeted. But for the love of God, enough is enough. We've been targeted. We've been oppressed. They've done what they've done. Cool. Now it's time for us to build. Okay, the past is the past. We're not forgetting the past, but we building going forward. It ain't no time for excuses no more. Now, if they want to ask us what the fuck going on, and we tell them we get them A to Z, the reason why we're in this position. But in house, we can educate people on these that oppress us, but we need to be thinking about moving forward, right? And one of the things that we have is a school, right? We got the Wildflower charter school in the Bronx. It's a Montessori school, but Trump is shutting down the DOE, right? They opened it up for charter schools. We got a blueprint for charter school. Anybody listening, anybody want to build a charter school where they at, I'll put you on the phone with our guy Mario, and he'll tell you how to run the play from A to Z.
Mm.
It's right there. And that way you raising little revolutionaries from pre-K. We got them from pre-K, and we grow every year to a new grade. So we got pre-K through fourth grade right now. And they could tell you who Nat Turner is faster than they could tell you who Christopher Columbus is. You know what I mean? On another note, we got this Jordan Neely trial in New York. This racist cracker, this Marine choked the homeless brother to death on the subway. And you listen to the trial, he might have been wilding, screaming out some stuff, but he never made an aggressive move. He never went after anybody. And this Marine jumped on him and choked him for 30 seconds. And then everybody got off the train and it stopped. And he choked him for another 5 minutes and 30 seconds. He choked that brother for 6 minutes. 5.5 minutes, there wasn't a threat to anybody else. We fighting that. Another thing is we have I just left LA. We have a movie called, it feels weird promoting a movie that I'm in, but we got a movie called America's Burning, right?
Mm.
And what we have is a white billionaire is explaining how rich white people are buying politicians and erasing away the American dream, right? Explaining how years ago, a few decades ago, you had a 30% chance of going from the lower class and becoming rich. Now there's only a 5% chance.
Mm.
And people seeing people bubble and listening to all this Instagram stuff and not and getting hype off a pipe dream because they really suffocating that American dream that was there. Not for us. I already said I know the history, but they eliminated that. Real shit, bro. Fucking Al Pacino was there, and I was talking like this on stage, and Al Pacino was clapping. We are more powerful now than we've been in my whole lifetime. And we just need to realize it and just build in our communities. And I look for, we've been building forever. You know, brother Nick said we need to be in Jackson. We popped up the offing. You know what I'm saying? Your keys is ready. We just gotta lay down the floor on the other side. We good to go. We ready to roll. Open them doors in February, but we ready to roll, bro. It's like let's just get it done. That's it.
Brother Nick,
Mm.
Commander General, Elmer Geronimo Pratt Gun Club.
Man, it's a lot. It's a lot, and I hope the people. First off, brother Jair, man, I appreciate you. I think everybody spoke to it for even having this platform to allow us to talk because I think the day after the election, man, November 6th was hard on Black America, not because Trump won and Harris lost, but because of the fallout between our own people. And I don't care, man, about a Democrat or Republican. We should never fight amongst each other, and we should never fight publicly. Black men and black women, man, we all we got. If we're gonna do anything, we're gonna have to do it with each other, you know. And so it hurt me, man, on the sixth to see so many black women going after black men, and for whatever reason, you know. So we have to stop all that. And I've said this before. We have to stop being so emotional as people. We have to start being more critical and analytical in our thinking because it's just ridiculous that the election would turn people on each other so fast. It was ridiculous to see. So with that being said, our focus with the Elmer Geronimo Pratt Gun Club is to really just continue to train people, continue to help our people when we can, and just build. Commander Patrick said it, and we've talked about it. Uh, we have to point. We have to be able to tangibly point to what liberation for our people looks like. Right? We're already free-ish, but we have to be independent. We have to be independent in our thinking, and that's where it
That's right.
really starts. Like we can no longer have a plantational mentality if as we navigate, these lives that we have to be independent thinkers. We have to be critical thinkers. We have to be analytical in the way that we approach things, in the way that we do it. And I've had several farmers never met each other. I'm talking black farmers. Um, who have said these black farmers have told me that never met each other that said the greatest thing you can do, the most revolutionary act you can do is to be able to grow your own food.
Mm.
And that's always stuck with me. Whether you're talking about the Mallories in Colorado or farmers that I've met in Mississippi, the most revolutionary act we can do is to be able to grow our own food. And you all might have seen a picture of me in Commander Patrick's backyard planting seeds because I understand that. Because at any time, the government can cut our food sources off. So if that happens, what are we going to do? And so that's why the most important thing for us right now is to be able to acquire land and work with like-minded people and grow these safe spaces for our people. Opening, at Hall, opening the office in Jackson, and working with these black farmers to be able to grow our own food, to have our own livestock, to be able to build our own homes on it, right? To have compounds actually. This is what we need to start thinking about, taking over cities like Coldwater, taking over cities like Holly Springs, and being able to control our own destiny and having safe spaces for our own people. Because, see, let me tell you something. Now I'm going to get back to the root of who I am. It ain't going to be no more Black Wall Street. It ain't going to be no more Rosewoods. And I don't mean the good part of it. I'm talking about you're not about to come roll up in them spots with your little white militias and think you're going to burn our cities to the ground. Them days is over. I told y'all in 2000 and in 2021, them days are over. And so now that we have the ability to come together and have these safe spaces to be able to grow our own food, to be able to build our own homes, to have our own places to train, to be able to have our own places like the Ashe Academy to educate our children. These are the things that we have to do. And now we have the tools to do so. Now we have the ability to protect ourselves going forward. And so I think the fact that we have the ability to protect ourselves and we have the ability to know how and the resources to build these safe spaces for our people, I think it's critical. And that's what we have to do going forward. So a lot of the stuff that you might, see us doing in 2025 and 2026 is going to be still taking care of our people. When you see us with our outreach programs, helping people who we can along the way, but making sure that we get brothers like Commander Dubsack from Holly Springs elected as mayor, and making sure that we're able to navigate these municipalities without any issues. And so that's the road that we're on. That's the path that we're on. And one thing that I've really come to realize in this path is that you can only take the people who want to go along with you. Unity can't be forced; it has to be organic. And I
Yeah.
think the relationship that you're seeing right here on this phone call, on this live, are relationships that were built organically. And we can save it for another day. But how me and Brother Hawk met, or how me and Commander Patrick met, and the way that our relationships have grown, and even you, Brother Jair, from the beginning. You know, we met right after the grocery store shooting up in Buffalo. Is when we first talked. Uh, and so, with that being said, I just know that going forward, man, we have to work with like-minded people and just make sure that our relationships are grown organically, because everybody's not going to be on the same path as us, and we have to understand that and just wish them the best, but continue to grow and continue to walk this path with the people who want to walk it with us. So with that, again, Brother Jair, I appreciate you putting this together, brother, and thank you.
It's my honor. It's my honor. Um, Brother Patrick Lumumba.
Yeah, just
Um,
in closing, and can y'all hear me?
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, just in closing and to be brief, I live in this little ass town, man. And according to Rashad Ritchie, it's one of the most racist towns in the South, according to the research that they researched after the 10-year-old boy, Quintavious Easton, was arrested by 10 Senatobia police officers. And the gravity of that type of racism exists all over this state. But Mississippi is a sign, and I keep saying it to people all over. I won't go nowhere else. I don't want to live nowhere else. I want to live right here because I feel like if we break this yoke right here, and I think we got a perfect opportunity to break it, it would be a sign and a sound that would resonate all over this country if we do that. So I want to be on the front line doing that. And I want the brothers on this feed, this live feed, to know that I think I'm affiliated with the right brothers. I've been on this journey for a long time, and it wasn't until I met the likes of brothers like Nick Bezzel, Hawk Newsome, even yourself, Brother Vaughn, Howard Little, that I began to really be able to see that liberation that Dr. Murphy talked about, Nick. You know what I'm saying? I can see it because it come through the courage of men like us. You see what I'm saying? See, Donald Trump, I ain't got no fucking problem with Donald Trump because Donald Trump speaks for his people. You know what I'm saying? So we got to speak for our people. We got to draw a line in the sand. And that's what I'm willing to do. And see, when I see the acts of heroism, because this same police force that take 10-year-old little boys to jail for peeing outside, slam little black girls like they in the WWF when they get off the school bus. Them same motherfuckers, when Howard Little and Nick Bezzel came here, and Howard Little spent $1,200, $1,600 just to come tell them, I'm not going to pay you $130. And they tell him, you're a principal man. No, what you need to tell him is that you're a king and that you're a black man and that we don't want the likes of you around here. And we got to build on that. See, that's what I'm able to see. And I want to see the yoke of this system broke. That's what black liberation is breaking the yoke of white supremacy constructs and constraints. So with that being said, brother, y'all energize me. And I thank you, Brother Vaughn, for this live, man, because I need it. Because we live under a cloak of oppression, and it causes depression. But when you know you're affiliated with brothers like yourself and the brothers that's on this feed and the people that's listening and the people that we affiliated with the Elmer Geronimo Pratt Gun Club, Hawk Newsome, and everything that you do, and Black Liberation Movement, and all these strong people that's reconfiguring the DNA of the NAACP here in Mississippi, then you know you got a chance. So with that being said, Brother Vaughn, I appreciate you, brother. Thank
Appreciate
y'all,
you.
man.
Thank you.
No doubt.
And I just want to end with this. It's an honor to be in y'all presence. It's like I said, it's an honor to even know you guys. It's an honor. It's an honor to know that you guys know me. And anything I could do, especially with you, Brother Hawk. I'm in constant communication with Nick and Brother Patrick through Elmer Geronimo Pratt. But Brother Hawk, anything you need from me, anything you need me to promote, anything you need me to shout out, just hit me up. Just hit me up. I can give you, I think I got your number. But I say, via DM, Instagram, whatever. Anything you guys need from me, I've always said that. Just let me know what you need. I got you. Whether it's video that you want me to put some clips together, whatever it is, you want me to do a promo video, anything that I could do. This is my passion. This is my strong suit. I'm not really good at a lot of other things than that, other than putting hands and feet on people. But that's not really ever really called for as much. So I focus on this more so. And like I said, I thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you guys, and we have to do this again. Man, as I said, love you guys, man. I love y'all, man. I love y'all black men. Let's just keep it going. Let's keep it moving.
Yes,
And with that, everybody, thank y'all for tuning in. And with that, we out.
Defame. forgotten.
Party.
My fellow citizens,
it is strong.
It's my duty to report the true problems of our nation.
We vigorously developed this resource to be of great benefit.
Where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause.
I will be eternally grateful for your support.